All right, so I wanted to take just a minute and kind of demonstrate how planning ahead, uh, eh, you know, you're going to have to play the game a few times to learn any game, to learn what's the better way to do things and how you should lay things out and what you're going to need for the future. So your first playthrough is going to just be a hot mess. Mine always is because you don't know what you're doing. You don't know how much room you're going to need. I always recommend to people when they're playing any kind of factory game, spread stuff out. You don't have to keep everything so compact. And as you see in my play, I spread stuff out and try to get it out there. And I mean, I've got a whole other side of a planet I haven't even touched yet that I can fill in with land and use for all kinds of stuff. I haven't even been to the poles. So I've got all kinds of space. So don't feel like you have to stay super tight. This is not a game where you're restricted in that way. So here's an example of a factory that I had built previously using raw materials in just iron ore, copper ore, some graphite pre-smelted, and then coal. And this is what it takes to make, what are these? Super magnetic rings, 60 per minute. And so you can see there's just a lot going on. I need to smelt some iron plates, turn those into gears. I need to make engines or motors. I need to smelt copper. I need to make copper rings, which require copper and another whole smelting station. And this is ratioed out using a calculator to tell me how much I'm going to need to produce 60 of these per minute. So you can see there's just a lot happening, a lot going on. If I chose to just use raw materials, that in comparison to using smelting stations to smelt all your materials down, here's what I need for that exact same ratio at 60 per minute. Actually, yeah, it's 4. And I'm probably going to put a fifth one down, but I'm already making, this is my output, but I'm already smelting these. I have a sub factory making these, put back on the belt, and I'm going to need rings for this and I think like one or two other things. So I went ahead and hated doing it, but I ran a whole nother belt down my bus of just these rings, so that I don't have to smell. I didn't want to have to bring down more raw ore. I don't need iron ore for anything else. I researched it. And I'm gonna make a fool of myself when I come to find out that's not the case for something I've never made before. But you can see the comparison, these 4 buildings and just a few belts versus these buildings and 5 belts, 5 versus 3. So it's just a big difference. And I did go ahead and spend some time. I shrunk all this up, my yellow science cubes. I shrunk it all up. And this isn't really producing as much organic as I want just because of my plastic isn't producing as much as I wanted it to. And it's fine. I'm not in a rush. But I am going to have to take a look at this and figure out, because I think I'm going to need plastic for other things. I might have to double this at some point. So anyway, just smushed it together. I did another copy of a section of this. I copied all this and put it into a blueprint. So then I've updated that bus blueprint. Nope, science. So now I've got my regular one, the old one that I was using if I ever decide to go back and play with raws for fun, or my smelted. And you can see I've got 398 facilities, that's including belts and all that stuff, versus 512 for raw materials. So there's a big difference. There's a big difference. And if I wanted to, I could probably get this tighter formation if I wanted to, but it works for me. There's been a lot going on. I've just kind of been doing some maintenance. I've extended out the belt system down quite a ways, just prepping for the future. I can go ahead and just remove this now that I've shown it what I need and what I don't need. That's just crazy, that amount of land, that real estate to get that going. And I set up a station here. This is for graphene. This is 60 per minute that I've put out on the belt, the secondary bus system. And then I came back here to the left side, closer to the head of the bus, to make processors, because processors just need your basic materials. It doesn't need any secondary components other than um, silicone chips or plates that I've run out of. So I've kind of done that. I was running low on some belt supplies, and since I was going to make magnets here at the head of the bus, I decided to add just a quick one, and I'm probably out of materials all over the place, but I had to expand a lot of stuff to keep up with demand. You can see how having a separate planet to do all this stuff is going to be beneficial once we get up there, but I'm still not making magnets enough to keep up. I need these more. I need magnetic coils more than I do regular magnets, but I'm going to fix all that stuff later. I've also had to go in because this is using coal. I had to really go in and grab 2 more veins of coal to just super bust it in, or pipe it, belt it in to use. And this is what I want. I want to be producing. There's no leftovers of coal. It's coming in and it is being used right to here. So if I had blue belts, which is the fastest belt, it'll really get this stuff going. And I looped it around for funsies so that any extra coal that accidentally gets skipped through is going to come back. Not that it's going to be wasted at all if it just sits here at the end, but it's just fooling around. Um, so that's all I've really done, other than I've upgraded all of my chests here from small to large. The Mark II chests, so they're going to hold a heck of a lot more, which is fine. So, this is just the process. You keep in the mindset that everything is temporary. I definitely don't want to keep all this stuff here. I want to move. I want to move my science somewhere else. I like to have it kind of at a pole. I think it looks cooler in the circle with the colored lines. And so I'll probably eventually move that up, but I don't want to do anything until I have some additional things unlocked. We had our tech tree unlock a bunch of stuff for us. So now if we come in and look, we've got some engines that we can make, some thrusters, some logistics drones. We can start making those. And these are what we're really looking for, is logistic vessels. But you can see I need to make thrusters and I need to make steel as part of their components. I've already got my processors set up. So the next one's going to be probably steel. It looks like I'm going to need steel for this stuff, and that's going to be used in a smelting facility. I'm going to need some stuff. I've already got, I know I've got an old school raw sourced. Do I? Thought I did. Look at my sub factories. I don't. So I'm going to have to build this from scratch like a goober. Oh, I do. Raws. Yeah, I need to reorganize my blueprints. So if I double click that to stamp it down, this is going to show me what I need to feed, show me what I had when I was using raw materials. And of course, I'm going to shortcut this because plates, yep, here we go. These plates are no longer needed to be smelted on site. I'm guessing this is plates of some kind. Yep. I don't need to make those. So there's a couple of things that right out of the gate I can get rid of because this is now coming on the bus. And so I don't need those. And I don't need that line. I don't need these, and I don't need that line because this is coming off the bus as well. So right away, I'm shortcutting a lot of stuff, and all this stuff is already on the bus. So I'm just going to pull off it, and I have steel coming out of here. So I can just click and drag that. I don't like having things so tight, but I can click and drag this back down here and put it back on the secondary bus. So real easily, because I already had that set up, I can just go start making it. Just connect it. I got 4 connections, and it's going to start processing 60 an hour, or a minute. 60 an hour. That'd be way too slow. And see how I've got some extra space here. So if I want to add 1 or 2 more of these, I can. But that's going to also depend on how much acid, is that what that is? Sulfuric acid I can produce. But this will be good. This will be good. And so doing this the first time, as we talked about before, is always going to take it's going to take some work. I plunked this down and tweaked it in just a couple minutes, but to set this up initially, it takes some time because you're going to look at your calculator, you're going to figure out, it's going to tell you what you need. If I look at it, what was I looking at? Steel, where are you? 60 a minute, so it's going to tell me I need 3, where was it? I need sulfuric acid, so I need 2.4. So I have 3. That's going to take in some, it's going to output sulfuric acid. And then I need 3 smelters for iron plates. I need 3 smelters for steel, and I need 3 smelters, and I have that, right? I'm all ratioed out, 3, 3, 3. It's just how you want to belt it around. Again, if I want to move these over here, I could and just feed it directly, but right now I just wanted to get it going because I really want to start making these. I need to start making these. And then I also need to start making my interstellar logistics stations. So there's a couple of subcomponents I need. The next thing I'm going to make is these particular containers or particle containers. I need to start bussing those up too. So that'll be the next thing. I'll probably put it right here. And I bet I have subfactory, no. Raws, no. Bus, yes. So you see how big this old school raw material system is. So I'm going to plunk it down. I'm going to let it build, and then I'm going to have to go back in and tweak, remove a bunch of stuff. And that's totally fine. It's part of the fun, I think. So anyway, there you go. That's what's happening.